I am a concerned parent with children in CCPS. I am not a radical activist from outside the county. And I thank you all for your time and attention to my thoughts on this very important issue of book selection. Literature by nature is open to interpretation, and each reader will interpret the same piece uniquely. Consequently, a parent's interpretation of appropriate literature for their child is also personal and can differ even within families. So who gets to define what is appropriate for my child, and by what yardstick? From my research, it is unclear who writes the reports on book looks or their background. They reduce literature to tallies of curse words and passages they deem racy, and they put them online without context, without guidance from adults, and without any critical thought, arguably making them more widely accessible to our students than the media centers do. Our media specialists, though, have years of education, master's degrees, and ongoing professional development. They have gone through your rigorous hiring and training process. Many live in our communities and their children attend our schools. They use vetted resources such as School Library Journal and Kirkus and knowledge of their unique student populations to stock their media centers with appropriate material to engage and challenge. They can support their selections with 2 positive critical reviews that designated appropriate for their media center's age or grade level. And if they can't find that because the book is too new, then 2 media specialists in this county must read and sign off on their selection. Their decisions are far from arbitrary and unreasonable. I do not want to expose children to concepts they are not mature enough to handle, but I also do not want to infantilize them. These book challenges are overwhelmingly in high schools, where students already have knowledge of sexuality through the health curriculum, discussions with their peers, or even just dealing with puberty. They know that some teens engage in sexual acts, that same-sex couples do exist, and that their bodies and feelings change rapidly during adolescence. No book on this list will tell them any differently. But these books will allow them to live vicariously through others' experiences and consider the decisions characters make and the consequences of their actions, all from the safety of their homes and schools. So I have a solution. My children are really terrible at returning books on time, and in the 9 years, this is my 9th year here, I've received many, many late notices that include lots of information about the books they check out. They have titles, authors, publishers, and a thumbnail of the cover just to be sure I get the right book. And so instead of removing books from media centers and weakening CCPS and taking away parental choice, why don't we institute an instant notification email of checked out materials so that when the kid checks it out, you get an email because that information is already in the system. It's already there. And then you would make this whole thing transparent with what your child checks out, and you know what they have access to. And it keeps the variety in there, in our school media centers, all the developmentally appropriate materials. And it permits parents to make the personal decisions and have the private discussions with their children.
Please finish your thought.
You don't have to engage in culture wars. Please allow parental autonomy while continuing to provide these varied resources to nurture and prepare our next generation of adults for life after CCPS. Here are letters from very, very many parents who are just as passionate about this as I am right here in Carroll County. I'm going to leave these for you when I walk out. Thank you so much.